Starts and sits of the week.
Jared Goff. Projecting him at 17 fantasy points, 260 yards passing, 1 touchdown. I think he's going to smash these numbers.
My number one start for receivers is the best player week 1 every year. It's Tyreek Hill. Tyreek, the last 4 years, in week 1 averages 28.8 points.
So they're going to feed him with footballs and not chicken nuggets. so I think he's ready.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Catching a Vibe. I'm your host, Drew. And I got my co-host back on, Mike. My dad, how are we doing?
Good. It's football season. We're ready.
Yep.
Starts this week, Thursday.
Week 1 is finally here, baby.
Definitely excited.
Couldn't be more excited for it.
Yeah.
So this video, we have our starts and sits of the week.
Yep. We picked some of the guys that we like. We didn't pick everybody. It's
Right.
first week. So I'd assume if you drafted somebody, you're pretty much going to stick with them. But if you're up in the air with some guys, these are some guys I would recommend maybe to take a look at, or maybe to even put in your lineup if you're kind of scared on situations and plays. So
yeah, we were looking at what they're projected and who their matchup is against.
Right.
That's how I came up with my list.
Right.
So
well, I'm going to start at the QB position. I really like this pick right here. It's the highest scoring game of the week. It's going to be Jared Goff. That game is going to be an explosive game. It's 51 points is the over and under on it. It's I think it's going to be a great matchup. Like I said, if you're really kind of fumbling around and you don't really know, I think Goff's really going to put up some big numbers for us. Projections, they're kind of projecting him at 17 fantasy points, 260 yards passing, 1 touchdown. I think he's going to smash these numbers. I think he's going to at least put up at least 2 to 3 touchdown passes. Like I said, it's 51 points.
Right.
It's the highest scoring game of the week. I really think both these teams are going to go up and down the field on it. Let's face it, everybody's picking Detroit to go far this season. They're Super Bowl contenders, so I think they're going to put up points. In the Rams defense, they're not very good, so I think he's going to have a big week, big game. So you're really questioning. I'd put him in your lineup.
And they lost Aaron Donald, maybe the most dominant.
Yeah, he's not going to be running for his life,
yeah.
So he's definitely going to be ready to throw the ball around.
Yes, that's a good pick. All right, I'll go my quarterback stud. I'm going Jordan Love versus the Eagles. They're playing Friday in Brazil. Kind of weird, but we're here for it. It's a Friday game. The Eagles defense struggled mightily last year towards the end of the year. The secondary was a big reason why. I think the Packers have a great receiving core, and it's going to really test those Eagles defenders. You know, last year, pass percentage was 62%. That was second to last. Passes per game was 38, and that was 32nd. 30th in yards, and second to last in interceptions. So I think Jordan Love's going to be balling against the Eagles.
He's going to have a big game. It's going to be a fun game to watch. Those two teams are definitely playoff contending teams, and they're going to want to start right off the rip with a win. So I think it's going to be that's another score that's
I was about to say
high point total.
That's going to be high scoring.
Yeah, so I definitely good on that pick there. So I'm going to go with we're going to go with a sit. So my sit at the quarterback position is going to be Jayden Daniels. Just don't know where he's going to be at. I know everybody likes him based on the rushing yards that he's going to have. Tampa Bay's defense is pretty good. I think he's going to struggle with not having set in stone these wide receivers. You know, he's got McLaurin. McLaurin's going to have a decent game, but who else? You know, so I think he's going to drop back and kind of struggle at trying to find those receivers open. They're only projecting him to throw for 220 yards, which is about 18 fantasy points. I think he's going to be below that on the 18 fantasy points because they're projecting him to have 7 rush attempts for almost 40 yards. So we'll see if they'll keep him in the pocket. We'll see if they'll slow him down a little bit. I'm kind of low on him. I want to sit Jaden Daniels.
Mm-hmm. So my sit, I'm going Anthony Richardson against the Texans. He's projected 19 points. I think that's too rich. AR did not look great in the preseason. The Texans were ranked 11th in points per game, second in yards per rush. So they were stopping the run, and they were 8th in yards per game with 100 rushing. Run first offense. And I could see the offense getting frustrated when the Texans take away the run and force AR to throw the ball. And it's year 2 with D'Amico Ryans at the helm. So I think that defense is going to be better this year. And they got Hunter from the Vikings, who's a really good defensive end. So
yeah,
I think it's going to be a tough day for the Colts.
Yeah, they're
week 1.
They're projecting their defense to be top tier. The Texans, I think they got a really good defense. I think they're definitely going to slow down Anthony Richardson, and it's going to be a battle to see what he can come up with. He's definitely a guy I'd be worried about starting. I know everybody picked him high, and you got to start him based on where you picked, but it's questionable to sit if you got a decent number 2 quarterback. So,
right.
I agree with you. For me, we'll go to the running back position as a start. I'm going to go with Alvin Kamara. I think he's going to have a field day on Carolina's defense. They're not very good. They gave up the 5th most points last year, and they're 27th against the rush. So, Alvin Kamara is going to put up a lot of receiving yards. He's going to have a good game. I think he's going to smash. He's definitely a smash in that game. I definitely would put him in the lineup. I'm sure most of you people out there won't struggle to put him in there. So he's my start.
Mm-hmm. My running back start, I'm going Bijan Robinson. Obviously, you're going to start Bijan, but I think he's going to have a big day. I think this is Bijan's breakout year, and I think it starts off with a bang. The Steelers were ranked 22nd in yards per rush, 21st in yards per game with 118. I think this offense goes through Bijan. And I see him getting work in the passing game, too. They were lining him up in the slot. I just think he's going to dominate this game if they try to take him away as a runner. I think he'll get involved in the passing game.
Yeah, they're definitely looking at him as catching the ball out of the backfield. They're going to line him up as a slot, too. I think he's going to catch a lot of passes. He's going to have a big year this year. I agree. So my number 2 start, if you're looking around, I'm sure you're going to start him anyway. It's going to be James Cook. I think he's going to have a big day, too. He's going against Arizona's defense, who is dead last ranked against the rush. They gave up the most TDs last year, and I don't think they got any better. I think James Cook's going to have a big game against that. They're projecting him at 15 carries, 65 yards rushing. I think the Buffalo's going to get up on the lead, and I think he's going to get more rushes than that, more yards. I think he's going to have a bigger day as far as rushing. They're projecting him at 12.4 fantasy points. I think he's going to have a lot higher number than that. I really think he's going to be one of the start of the weeks. I think he's going to have a big day.
All right. For my second start at the running back position, I'm going Kenneth Walker. He's going against the Broncos. He's projected 16 points. The Broncos were 30th in run defense, 27th in points per game, and 32nd in yards per rush with 5 yards a carry. I think Walker is due for a big game, and he can catch passes too. And we'll see how Bo Nix plays in his first NFL start. So I could see the Seahawks dominating the Broncos in week 1, and I think Walker's going to get a ton of work.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think he's definitely in line to have a big week too. Definitely 2 good picks for starts each. So a sit for me, I'm going with Swift. Going against Tennessee. Tennessee's defense is pretty good. They were ranked 11th. I don't know how these carries are going to go. DeAndre Swift most of the time doesn't get the whole lot of carries. He's usually split in the backfield most of the time. So I think he's going to split some of the carries with Roschon Johnson
and Herbert
and Khalil Herbert. I think those guys are going to take some of his production. I want to stay away from Swift this week because I want to see how the breakdown's going to be as far as the carries.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to get the full workload. I think they're definitely going to split it up. Secondly, we're going to have to see how Caleb handles the defense. You know, is he going to spread the defense, or are they going to stack the box? I know they got 3 good receivers, so we'll see how that game plan is. For me, I want to sit Swift.
Okay. For my first sit at the running back position, I'm going Tony Pollard against the Bears. So the other team, Pollard is splitting snaps with Tajay Spears. The Bears defense towards the end of the year, when they got Sweat, they were playing elite. And I think that carries over this year. It just concerns me that he's splitting carries with Spears. And I don't think anyone thinks the Titans are going to be really good this year. So,
yeah, no, I don't think so. I think
that's my first
a little bit.
So your second
sit, it's going to be Najee Harris. Warren's back. I guess he's going to play in this game. So that kind of makes me want to scale back a little bit as Najee's production. Let's see who Pittsburgh's playing the Falcons. The Falcons' defensive rush game was 5th in the league. So they're going to stack the box. They're going to take them away, and they're going to see if Russell still has any juice left in it, because he's kind of struggled, and they're flip-flopping these quarterbacks around, and you know they have no consistency there. So I think Atlanta's going to slow down Pittsburgh's rushing game. I'm kind of scared of Najee Harris right now. I want to sit him.
Yeah. For my second sit, I don't necessarily think you should sit this guy, but I'm worried about him. I'm going Kyren Williams versus the Lions. He's projected 15 points. The Lions defense was ranked 8th in yards per rush with 3.8, 3rd in rushing attempts per game with 23, and 2nd in yards per game with 91. I think it's going to be an efficient day at the office for Kyren. Plus, who knows how much work Corum will get, and he's returning punts, which scares me a little bit in case he gets hurt returning a punt.
Right, that's extra shots he's taking, sure.
And plus, the Lions' secondary was not good at all last year, and I think Puka and Cooper Kupp will have a field day.
Yeah, that game's going to be air it out, throw the ball all over. I think you're right about that. I'm a little leery of him, but like you said, you picked him so early. You're almost got to start him.
Yeah,
unless you got a deep running back core, you probably won't sit him. But yeah, I agree. So I'm going to go with my start at the receiver position. I'm going to go with T. Higgins. You know, hey, look, is Chase going to show up? Is he going to play? If he doesn't show up, then Higgins is going to have a monstrous game. So he's my start of the week for receiver. The defense, New England's defense isn't bad. They were 11th on the defense side. Burrow's healthy. I think they're going to throw the ball a ton because their running game, no one knows how that's going to pan out for them. I think T. Higgins is in store for a big game. I think he's fighting for that contract. Big year this year, I think, for T. Higgins.
All right. My number one start for receivers is the best player week 1 every year. It's Tyreek Hill versus the Jaguars. He's projected 19 points. Tyreek, the last 4 years, in week 1 averages 28.8 points. Last year, he had 44. And this year, he goes up against the Jaguars, who lack a true shutdown corner. The Jaguars' defense was ranked 16 in points allowed, 19 in completion percentage, and 26 in passing yards a game. So I think the Dolphins are going to pass a lot. Most of the throws will go to Tyreek, and he's going to be the highest scorer in week 1. Yep, that's my prediction.
Definitely. Easy pick there.
Yeah.
For sure, easy pick. All right, my second guy, I'm really high on him this year, and he's starting to climb up the ranks in your drafts, Cooper Kupp.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to have a big year. He's going against Detroit. Detroit's defensive backfield was the 30th ranked, so it's going to open up the field for them guys to throw it around. Plus, I'm a little worried about Puka. I know he's had that little knee injury or whatever you want to call it, and they're going to probably manage that a little bit, make sure he doesn't re-injure it. So I think Cooper Kupp's going to have a big game. Projection-wise, they're kind of having him at 5.4 catches, 68 yards, for 15 fantasy points. I think he's gonna be up in the 20s. I think he's gonna have a little better day than 68 yards. I think I'm gonna put him at about 100 yards, and he's probably gonna have about 6 or 7 catches, probably more, because he's gonna be. I think he's gonna be running out of slot, all these little underneath routes.
Yeah,
and plus I think he wants his crown back. So I'm gonna go with Cooper Kupp as my second pick.
All right. My second start. I like this player a lot as a flex play. I'm going Jayden Reed versus the Eagles. He's projected 11 points. I already said Philly's defense was poo last year, ranked in the bottom 3 for passes, per game yards, pass percentage. And Philly drafted 2 rookie corners with Mitchell and Cooper, the great white hope. Yeah. So I think the Packers are going to explode against this Eagles defense.
Right. Yeah, I mean, last year, what they lose the last 5 or 6 games of the season, and it was all because every team was just throwing the ball at will against them. Yeah. They had leads and gave them up. They lost Bradbury, their best cover guy. So I definitely think that you're right. I think Green Bay is going to have a good game against that secondary of the Eagles. So I agree with that pick.
All right, our sits.
My number 1 sit's going to be Jordan Addison from Minnesota. I mean, I'm a little scared. I'm sure you probably are with Sam Darnold. That's why Jefferson dropped as far as the drafting goes. You're not really expecting him to have that humongous season. And Addison was one last year that showed a lot of great playing ability. He looked like he was going to be a stud too. So we'll see what Sam Darnold's able to feed these guys. In the camp, Addison twisted his ankle. He was carted off the field. Who knows how he's feeling there? They're saying he's going to start, but I'm a little leery there. That's going to help him. The health of Addison in that game is kind of scaring me. So I want to look around and find another player. Probably if you drafted Addison, he's probably in your flex spot. So you might be able to put a running back or someone else in there that might have a better day. Because I'm worried about Addison with Darnold running the helm there. So he's my sit.
So for my first sit, I'm not saying sit this guy. I'm just very concerned about his matchup. I'm going CeeDee Lamb against the Browns. CeeDee just got his bag last week. And I feel like he's going to be a little rusty coming in week 1. And the Browns are loaded at defensive back. Denzel Ward, Martin Emerson, Greg Newsome, Grant Delpit, and Juan Thornhill at safety. I feel like the Cowboys are going to struggle against the Browns because of the secondary is going to cover up CeeDee, and Cowboys are going to have to throw somebody else. The Browns were number 1 completion percentage at 58. I don't like CeeDee in week 1.
It's definitely not a good matchup. Definitely. And how good a football shape is he in? I know he's practicing and staying in shape, but it's different when you're on the field. Somebody's holding on you, somebody's running beside you, pushing you around. So I agree. I mean, you're not going to sit him, but be leery of what kind of fantasy point total he's going to put up for you.
He's going to disappoint because 20 points.
To be honest, I was kind of wanting to put Dak on my sit because with the question mark with CeeDee, how long he's going to be in. Is he going to be on the sideline? Is he going to get the full game plan? Is he going to be ready? So I agree. I mean, you're definitely not going to sit him, but I be leery of what he's going to score for you. So my second sit is going to be Rome Odunze for the Chicago Bears. Just trying to figure out what kind of rotation this receiving core is going to be in. You know, Tennessee's defense is not that good. They were 24th as far as defensive coverage, but I'm just scared. They paid Keenan Allen big money to come here. I don't care how fat he come into the camp. He's going to get fed because they paid this guy money. So they're going to feed him with footballs and not chicken nuggets. so I think he's ready. But all right, so we're back. Anyway, yeah, so Roman Odunze, I think he's going to be limited on the snaps. I just think they're trying to find a rotation of these guys. Who knows how big of a game Caleb Williams is? He's got so much potential. He looks amazing, but he might struggle in his first game out of the box. You know, I think he might have a little rougher game, but I think he's going to be a great quarterback. But I'm just scared of Rome. Mm-hmm. Can't start him until I see how this Bears rotation goes at receiver.
Yeah, I like that. So my second sit, I'm going Brandon Ayuk. He's projected 13 points. He held out till this week. He's going against the Jets, who have a great defense. And I think Sauce is going to be guarding Ayuk most of, if not all game long. So that's why I have him at my second sit. Plain simple.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
So
tight ends now.
Last guy of our start, I'm going to go at tight end position, Dalton Kincaid. I mean, they're going against Arizona. I think he's going to be their number one as far as looks. I think Josh Allen is going to rely on him because he's really the only face that's there that they've had on that team. So I think they're going to feed him a ton. Arizona's defense is bad. So I think Dalton Kincaid is going to have a big game.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely a start.
So my tight end start is on the opposite sideline. I'm going Trey McBride here versus the Bills, projected 12 points. Bills defense lost. Poyer and Hyde, they're leaders on defense, and Von Miller's regressing with the old age. So I can see McBride eating against them. And him and Kyler's connection was getting pretty good. 5 out of 8 games he played with Kyler. He finished in the top 10 scoring for tight ends. And majority of those, he finished as tight end 3. So I really like McBride, and I think the Bills are going to try their best to not let Marvin Harrison eat. So
yeah, they're definitely going to try to slow down Marvin Harrison, and I agree with you. I think he could end up at the end of the year as the number one tight end. I think Trey McBride is going to have a big game in this one. They're going to be behind. They're going to be throwing the ball a ton to get the ball, try to score some points, to try to hang in there with Buffalo. I agree. My sit's going to be Jake Ferguson. Like we talked about earlier, we're a little scared of how Dak's going to feel, how he's going to be ready. The Browns defense, like he said, they were tops in covering tight ends out of the running pass formation. So I think Jake Ferguson's my sit. I think he's going to struggle in that game. That's my guy right there. I'm sitting.
All right. My sit, I'm going Kyle Pitts. I don't think we're ever going to see a start Kyle Pitts. He's playing the Steelers. He's projected 10 points. The Steelers have a great defense with TJ Watt, Minka, and Patrick Queen, the guy they just got in. I just don't like this matchup with Queen and Fitzpatrick taking turns guarding him. Mm-hmm. So that's why I have Kyle Pitts on the sits for tight ends.
Yeah, I agree. And Kirk Cousins is coming back off of that ACL, so we'll see how good he is.
Or Achilles.
Or Achilles, you're right. And see how good he is and how he's able to handle his first game back. Mm-hmm. And Kyle has got all those great numbers, size and all that, but he has not been able to perform in the fantasy level for you.
So that is our week 1 starts and sits. Hope you guys enjoyed. Comment down who you're worried about or who you like this week, who we got right, who we got wrong. Please comment down.
Or ask if you
ask if you have a question.
Start, who you want to sit, who you want to play over somebody. We'll answer your questions. We'd love to hear from you.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun. I agree. I'm just ready for the season. I'm pumped.
So, Ray, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Peace.